But before we even get to AI, let's talk about where the US economy is right now. From your perspective, how healthy is the economic environment?
Sure, a great point to start. We think the economic backdrop is pretty healthy. I think we have some ups and downs that we're navigating right now post Liberation Day. But if you go back to the pre-Liberation Day period, we had a pretty healthy labor market. Unemployment was under control. Inflation was moderating, and corporate investment was peaking as well. If you look at S&P 500, you had pretty decent profitability. Companies were beating extremely high margins and estimates, and which ties back into this whole automation era evolution that we're talking about, right? So I think the economic backdrop was pretty resilient. I think tariffs did cause some uncertainty or it did cause some volatility into that mix, but it seems like we may be in a much better shape than expected when all this generally began. And I do think that we have very strong undercurrents like the innovation that we're seeing with artificial intelligence that can help us grow at a much faster rate and really overcome some of these hurdles that we're seeing here right now. On the other side, you also have investments moving into reshoring, data center construction, and areas like that as well, which we can go over in a bit. But generally, I would think that the positives certainly outweigh the negatives or the weaknesses in the broader economic backdrop right now.
So, in your view, with AI, it's more like we're installing a turbocharger into an engine that's already running smoothly, not trying to resuscitate a broken down car. Is that fair?
That is fair. I think innovation has played a very important role historically in driving the US economy forward. You go back to the oil age, go back to the early industrial days, you go back to the age of the internet, the chip era, the mobile smartphone computing era. So much of the growth that we have seen has come from a new technological paradigm shift that drives things forward. And I think the US industrial machine is really well designed and responsive to making investment decisions, capital allocation decisions, business decisions to capitalize on a wave like this. And I think AI, quite frankly, is bigger, more impactful, and more transformative than anything that we have seen in the past. I think this is a Internet 2.0 moment, if we were to use a recent analogy and draw comparisons, but probably 5 to 10 times bigger as it plays itself out. At a high level, I think there's really two parts to that story, and we can get into each one of those.
When people imagine AI, they often think of software and algorithms, but there's this massive physical side to it, from chips to data centers to the power grid. What does it actually take to build the backbone that AI runs on, and where are we in the process?
The backbone is extremely resource intensive and capital intensive. I think we are still in the early days of designing this AI industrial complex, if you will, which I think consists of number one, data centers. These are gigantic AI factories that produce and operate AI 24/7. The other side of it is making the semiconductors, the chips that actually go into that AI factory. And we'll get to that in a bit with reshoring and everything else. But the third leg of that stool, in my view, is electricity, power, but also cooling, water, and other resources that go into that. But when you think about leading in AI or the US leading in AI, we have to be able to do all three of these things here domestically on US mainland and then export the output of that, which is really smart algorithms, out to the rest of the world. And I think that is the direction in which we are proceeding, and we are extremely early in making that happen.
How realistic is physical AI like humanoid robots in our day to day lives over the next decade? Is that something, can I look forward to a robot making me breakfast in the morning in the next 10 years?
I think you will, yes.
Wow.
We are extremely bullish on physical AI and the physical application of automation to the real world. There's two things to consider there. I think the hardware systems necessary to make physical AI happen, to design the robot, the body of the robot, the arm, the humanoid form, is in pretty good shape and has been in very good shape in terms of the innovation curve that it has followed for the last 10 years. Think about the videos that we've been seeing about Boston Dynamics for the last 10 years on YouTube and everywhere in social media of a robot jumping, a hurdle or moving things from place A, point A to point B. Um, the brain of the system, the AI that really drives that robot, has only gotten better today, and it continues to sort of move on a very rapid pace of innovation and improvement. And I think that's the real unlocker, which is when you combine the brain and the physical system, you can really create all these new possibilities to deploy the technology into the real world.